How long do I get? 5 minutes? Are you the timer? Okay, don't start my time yet, though. This doesn't count. But I was at the Brewer game. We just got our literature, by the way, printed off on Thursday. I think the Brewer game was a Saturday, the opening day, Friday or Saturday. All these days are running together. But so we go out there, my campaign manager said, you got to go to the Brewer game, hand off some of your literature. I said, oh, that'd be fun, that's fine. Because you know, when you go out there, you're not going to necessarily have an always friendly crowd. There's probably Republicans out there, there's Democrats out there, people that don't give a crap out there. So people that may be a little bit inebriated out there. So I'm handing some literature out, and I actually had TMJ4 following behind me. So I'm handing out my literature, and I hand it to one young man, and he grabs it. He says, see? This is what I hate about politics now. This is what I hate. You're handing me a piece of paper. You're handing me about something. What do you know about this guy? He says, what do you know? You know nothing about this guy, but yet you're giving me a piece of paper and telling me to vote for him. And I said very calmly, I said, sir, that's me. And he looks at it and he says, that is you. He said, you know what? He goes, I'll vote for you, but he goes, I stand with Walker, I'll vote for you because you hand out your own literature. I said, well, it takes one vote at a time. But anyway, thank you. Okay, starting now. So we made our announcement about 3 weeks ago to run for lieutenant governor in the recall election. And we made our announcement in Milwaukee. A lot of people from Dane County and Madison say, well, why did you make your announcement in Milwaukee when you're from Madison? I live in Fitchburg, actually. I said, well, there's 2 reasons. One, because I wanted to. The second one was because I was actually born in Milwaukee at 51st and Burleigh, 1977, if some of you were wondering. And I wanted to actually set up a podium and a microphone in front of the hospital, because I thought that'd be somewhat nostalgic. But I guess you can't just set up like we do here in Madison, a podium and a microphone wherever you want and start speaking and hold rallies. So we actually had to pull a permit. So we actually made the announcement at 43rd and Burleigh, which is Sherman Park in front of the Boys and Girls Club. And we talked about opportunities and promise. And I'll tell you what that means. It's real simple. My parents moved me and my 2 brothers from Cleveland, Ohio to Milwaukee. Well, actually, I guess I didn't move from Cleveland because I wasn't born yet. But moved my older brother from Cleveland, Ohio to Milwaukee because my dad had a great opportunity, a better job, better life for his family. I was born in Milwaukee. So whenever you're born, you have a promise, right? When you're born, you have a promise that if you do the right things, you live the life like you're supposed to, get your education, don't screw up too bad, you can have this promise of having this American dream. Well, right now, Scott Walker and Rebecca Clayfish are taking away our opportunity and our promise. Just a little bit quickly about my background. We lived in Milwaukee. I only lived there for about a year. We moved to University Park, which is a south suburb of Chicago. And then we moved to Delavan, Wisconsin. So imagine my shock when we went from Milwaukee to, in 4th grade, we moved, when I was in 4th grade, we moved from University Park, Chicago to Delavan. So imagine my shock when I walked to my school the first day. But I actually think it made me stronger, made me able to adapt and deal with a whole different host of cultural differences. Now, I actually went to Delavan, Wisconsin, graduated from Stoughton High School. That's the same high school that Governor Walker graduated from. So me and Governor Walker went to the same high school. Now, we obviously took some different classes. I graduated from Stoughton High School. I thought after high school, you know what, Mom and Dad, I would become a chef. So I actually went to chef school. Went back to Chicago to the Cooking Hospitality Institute of Chicago. I realized after 2 weeks, this sucks. So I don't want to be a chef. I called home, I said, Mom, Dad, I don't want to be a chef. I want to be a firefighter. They said, well, you're going to stay in school for 2 reasons. One, because you're going to start what you're finished. They said, 2, you're staying at least to the end of the year because we paid for the full year. So while I was going to chef school, I actually worked on a day at Sport Bar downtown. Then I had to actually go to fire academy classes, pay for my own, and do my own. I wanted to be a firefighter because I want to give back to my community. My brother actually started the tradition. Both my brothers are firefighters. One's in Atlanta, Georgia. The other one's in St. Paul, Minnesota. So we got our now the reason I'm running right now is because what we're seeing right now in our state is horrible. And I almost cursed, and I'm getting better at not cursing. Like, thank you. It's crap. I mean, it's horrible what we're seeing. And last year, when they asked us to stand on the sideline as firefighters and police officers, as they were going to treat everybody else the We could have stayed out. We could have took our exemption and stood by and said nothing. They told us that'd only be about a week or so, and then everybody would go back home and their lives would go back to normal. That's what we were told. Well, they were obviously wrong about that, and they were wrong about firefighters and police officers. What we do is we respond to emergencies. And that's what I'm doing right now, is responding to an emergency. They told us last year that our state was broke, that we need shared sacrifice, right? Shared sacrifice. Right now it seems like we sacrifice and they share the wealth. So I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work hard for you. 3 things I want to work on. I'm getting the green light here. What does that mean? I have 30 seconds? Oh, man, okay. So we saw Act 32 come. We saw $1.6 billion cut in education. We saw a 30% cut in tech colleges. We saw our child labor law being weakened. Under the age of 18, you work more hours and more days per week. Planned Parenthood cut. 12,000 women that used to go to Planned Parenthood, not for the woman's right to choose, mind you, but for just basic health care, because they can't afford health care at their employer. Cut. Voter ID, they call it voter registration, I call it voter suppression. So I want to help whoever our gubernatorial candidate is combat and fight all these problems, but I will work on my own issues, because right now, I don't know if anybody in the room knows what the lieutenant governor does. Some people say the lieutenant governor's job is to wake up and check the pulse of the governor. I think it can be so much more than that. So I'm going to fight hard and fight like hell to make sure you know what the lieutenant governor does. I want to work on jobs. And we have a governor that's promised 250,000 jobs over the next 4 years, but we've got nothing. We have 6 months of straight job losses. We need to bring business, industry, corporations to the table with community and labor and talk about real job creation. I want to talk about education. Don't clap, I only got 2 seconds. I want to talk about education. I want to talk about education because right now we take $1.6 billion from education. He takes a 30% cut from tech college and then says it's working. And he says we don't have a trained workforce because we do have the jobs out there. But then takes $71 million from tech college system. And then I want to talk about poverty. Because we never talk about poverty, and I'm as guilty as anybody else. We always talk about the middle class. And middle class wages are going down. And the middle class is under attack. But think about the people that are living below middle class wages. The people that are in these impoverished areas in our state. And I'm not just talking about Milwaukee and Madison. We have rural areas that are living in poverty. So we have this constant race to the bottom, but we got to work hard. Because we don't just live in an economy, we live in a society. And I'm going to work on Wisconsin that we all know and love, the Wisconsin I was born in, back to our state. We have the fierce urgency of now to choose community over chaos. And we got to recall Rebecca Clayfish. We have to recall Scott Walker and get some champions in there. Thank you, brothers and sisters.